Hello everybody, Akra here, and yeah, we are back with another Let's Talk Games, and today might be a bit of a short video, but we are talking about sandbox games. Now, sandbox games I actually do enjoy. I find them to be very enjoyable and very calm, and I'm going to be talking about at least the three main titles of sandbox games today, which are, of course, Minecraft, Don't Starve, and Terraria. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about these games because I do feel that sandbox games, each one of them are good in some degree, and of course many of them could use some that the others don't have. For instance, like with Minecraft, I do find that that Minecraft doesn't really have much interaction, so it's not like Terraria, where you can talk to your your NPC villagers, or do things like have interactions. I mean, yes, you can have pets and stuff, but none of the things that you can do on Minecraft really transfer over to Terraria. Whereas, like, Don't Starve, for instance, I like its survivability, which I believe in most sandbox games are not a requirement, but is a nice optional. Because if you have an element of survival that you have to worry about in a sandbox game, then, it's fun, and it creates a little bit of another element to worry about while you're playing the game. And while Minecraft does have a little bit of an element of survival, as you can see, it's not like Don't Starve, where the element of survival is every day. Like in Minecraft, for instance, and even in Terraria, there's hardly much of an element of survival because, like in Minecraft, you don't starve for a super long time, and it can take you days of playing Minecraft before of course, you starve to death. Whereas, like, in Terraria, you can't starve to death at all, which I don't really enjoy. And I do feel that Terraria does, or could use, that element of survival, and that element of, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to starve at some point. But the other thing I like about Don't Starve compared to Terraria is the fact that building is a little more free will, and you can build wherever you feel like building, whereas, like, for instance, in Don't Starve, you can build wherever you want to build, but it's not as free or open world as I would like it to be. But it's still a sandbox game nonetheless, and I still do enjoy it as a sandbox game overall. But overall, I mean, talking about that, it's just that I feel, that, both Terraria and Minecraft have, or Terraria and Don't Starve have a little bit of a nice element where, while you're free to do whatever you want, it's a little more open world, and it creates a little more sense of you can explore, or, you have to do different elements. Like, for instance, in Don't Starve, as you can see here, I like how when you're picking berries and stuff, and you're picking trees or twigs and saplings, they pretty much go limp, and you gotta wait for them to regrow. And while Minecraft does have that regrowing element, it's not as realistic as when you're chopping down a tree, for instance. It ends up just breaking into blocks, whereas when you chop a tree, for instance, in Don't Starve, it actually falls down. Like, it actually topples down, and then it breaks down into logs, which I personally enjoy a little bit more compared to Terraria, which also, when the tree gets chopped down, it still seems to break down into, like, teeny little blocks, and it doesn't really have, like, a tree falling animation. But there are ways of improving sandbox games, and I believe that the improvement is, I personally believe that I wish Don't Starve would have a little more of a 3D element like Minecraft does, because it creates a little bit more of a immersive atmosphere for you. Well, I don't mind Don't Starve in its entirety, and I still love playing the game. I just find that that it was a little more. It's a little more on the end of you are in a third person type of view. The other thing I kind of liked about that you don't get in Terraria, that you don't get with Don't Starve or Minecraft, is the interactivity, where you can interact with other NPCs. And sure, you can get Glommer on Don't Starve, and while he is kind of a cute little pet to keep around and cute little animal to keep by your side, you can't really interact with him like you could with Glomblum, the Varg, or any of the other little mini pets that you could get also in Don't Starve. Anyway, I mean, if there was a way I would say that we could improve sandbox games, it would be to kind of create a element of interactivity where you can interact with NPCs, because like in Don't Starve, for instance, Don't Starve Together, the only time you probably would be interacting with your fellow players is if you were at night talking to them. But otherwise, you really couldn't interact with them very well, or you probably wouldn't interact with them other than just looking around for, other than trying to get together and figure out what you need for one base or another. But otherwise, I mean, I find that Don't Starve, or sandbox games in general, can be great. They're calming, and, for a player like me, they are a nice, fun game, and they get me away from being over serious about the competition, because the one thing I like about sandbox games is the fact that they're not very competitive. They're very calming. They're and they are they create a sense of, it's not really a competition, more or less. It's just you've got to survive the elements, and you can survive the elements, which is why I kind of wish more games, especially games like Dragon Age, games like Call of Duty, maybe even games like Battlefield, would have a little bit more of a sandbox element. Anyway, I mean, how can we improve Call of Duty and stuff? Well, like I said, I wish they had a little more of a sandbox element, because while they still can have the competitiveness of games like the games that they are, I do believe that having a little bit of a sandbox element could be a very interesting element, and a new thing that could be tried with games like Battlefield, games like Call of Duty, and even games like maybe Overwatch, and not Overwatch, but games like Counter-Strike Go, Grand Theft Auto, many of these other games that are considered competitive games. I do wish they had a bit of a sandbox element, because it would create a much more interesting gameplay, and while the competition would still be there, I think having this element of survival and this element where you have free will to do whatever you feel like doing could be an interesting element that adds something new to games like shooters that have never been done before. Because I do feel that sometimes, especially in shooter games, we end up just focusing more on the battles, more on just the competition, or the whatever it is, and not so much on the element of, oh, I ran out of ammunition, I gotta go get some more. Oh wait, there's not going to be another drop of ammunition until X amount of time, or I'll have to find a creative way of killing somebody just to get more ammunition. And I believe that would create an element of something that many shooter games don't have. And in fact, even with this element of sandbox where you can kind of makeshift use whatever weapons you need to use, whatever they are, just to survive, would, at least in my opinion, for shooter games, make a much more interesting element. But, I mean, overall, sandbox games don't really have to be improved all that much. I think they're great. And, yeah, I mean, you know, there are just some things with sandbox games that I wish, like, for instance, Don't Starve creators, I wish you guys would look at maybe Minecraft and how, you know, the 3D element may be a much more interesting atmosphere for Don't Starve players compared to the atmosphere you already have in of course, Don't Starve already. But anyway, I mean, this was a bit of a short video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, we will be back with another Let's Talk video hopefully soon. But yeah, so yeah, thank you everybody for watching this video, and yeah, until the next one, yeah, I guess this is it. And yeah, so hopefully next game we'll be doing something a little longer, but yeah, until the next one, this is Sakurai signing out.